image blurring already.
Yeah, yeah. So, this one is interesting. I said it's kind of it's related, but a little less related. And the reason why is that it's not always the result of somebody trying to bypass the filter that they run into this type of content. And in fact, it's in general, it's not. But I touched on in that process about how, being able to access educational content safely is an important thing. And when we're thinking about the impact of things like false positives or otherwise. And so um we did this with our image blurring, like I mentioned, with the category control. But one of the things that we wanted to do was also to take that same technology, that same power, and bring it to video as well. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's that we're the only ones doing that. I think you really need to make sure, though, that when you're looking at really any solution, that you're understanding how it's going to be comprehensive. And something like video blurring, what we're doing here is it means that in combination with smart play, which is something that Lightspeed offers, which is already categorizing videos, it gives you that extra safety net, right? You know that now if there is an extra video that is being allowed, you want to add, want to open access a little bit more broadly to give your teachers more flexibility. You now also can have confidence knowing that inappropriate content at a frame level is not going to be shown to them, right? So we're actually looking at and scanning the frames of the video as it plays, and then making sure that we are obfuscating or blurring that content out mid video while the video plays. And so it's again, it might seem maybe a little less exciting than the proxy one, but I would say that the argument here for this type of technology really is that when we're thinking about the whack-a-mole, it's not just proxies. It's also adding videos to allow lists. It's also trying to balance, okay, Wikipedia has this type of content on it, but our parents want it, or our teachers, sorry, want it for this. And so, obviously these are pretty obvious examples, but I think it really illustrates how this type of technology can keep you out of the weeds and let you relax a little bit. So that way, everyone has a better experience and you're not sitting there entering things into lists all day long.
And you say it might sound obvious around the Wikipedia one, but still, that is a discussion that's going on in administrators' offices across the
It's true.
globe, still, where they have this angst of such an educational resource and making it available, or not, because there is a risky 1% of user generated content that could change, or just general, like the image example in our slide deck here of the human reproductive system has a perfect basis for certain students at certain times, but not necessarily for all of our students. And getting that level of granularity is requires the specificity to be able to look beyond what a URL will be across the website that it's on and starting to look at this. I'm going to come
Yeah.
back because this is the first time I'm hearing that it's frame by frame, Matt. That sounds awesome. So,
Yeah.
really it is going to be that instantaneous and all of that's not that it's streaming away. That's going to be a local and very fast decision that's being made.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it's built on the same technology again that the image blurring is when it comes to the AI model that's scanning. And so we're essentially able to just grab each frame on the fly and run it through. Fortunately, for those of you who are familiar with how some of these image scanning systems how they work, they don't actually require that high of a resolution. And so it allows us to sort of keep the performance implications to a minimum, right? You're not really having to deal with issues there because what we're actually streaming to it is like the lowest resolution version of the video, right? So it's not trying to make a decision on a multi-megabyte high definition video frame. It's a much more efficient technology than that.
And I'm going to hark back to one of our geeky discussions because we talked about this in terms of how we test our solutions. You know, it's not as if we know that students are all sitting there with high powered Windows machines and MacBook Pros in their classes. We test these on some of the most entry level Chromebook devices on purpose, don't we? To make sure that this is going to work and function at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even my Chromebooks, it's a 2019 that I use it on. So, it's not the newest model, that's for sure. But even on something like that, it feels invisible, which is obviously that's what we're aiming for. And and I will say too, to that point, it is also built in a way with queuing and things like that that is specifically designed to make sure that it cannot try to process too much at once and slow you down, right? It will always prioritize like content that's above the fold, and then of course will work its way down from there. If you've used the image blurring, then you understand how that's working, etc. So yeah, but it's a very similarly designed.
I love it. Thank you. And
Absolutely.
everyone can see why I love geeking out with Matt. It's so good. He has in-depth knowledge of how all of these things work. And I know when you're thinking about how you're protecting your students in your environment, you want to have as much detail and as much confidence as possible. And I've yet to meet anyone with as much confidence building technique as Matt has here with his deep knowledge of all of the functions that we've got. But Matt, that's enough praise for you for now.
Thank you.